JF Stretford, Paddock, and this is our sort of semi-regular feature where we look at our Champions League games and how we won them. So this is the analysis of how we beat Atalanta 3-2 at Old Trafford. And don't worry, you've not got to listen to me looking at this. You've got to listen to Abdul from Pure Ball, who's going to give us the tactical rundown of it all. How are you doing, Abdul?
I'm all right, man, yeah. Went on a bit of a break.
Come back.
I promise you it's not COVID. I've just got a sore throat.
He has had a test, but in case anyone's...
I paid 50 quid
You are
for
sat
that
near the
test.
elderly here, so it's not advisable.
If that isn't right, then I give up. It was 50 quid for that test. I just want to repeat that again. It's an absolute joke. But on to the game.
It's worth it, though. So just
it's
so
worth it.
If you don't know...
watching United beat Atalanta, so it was worth it.
It was worth it. And if you don't know how this goes down, basically, Abdullah picks 3 players, don't you, to look at their role in United's win. Which it's been wins so far. Hopefully that'll continue. So who's the first person we're going to look at? That was nicely timed, wasn't it? Just taking a nice sip of his drink when I'm asking him a question.
Sorry,
How long have you been doing this for? We're not going to cut that out. We're going to leave it in because he needs to learn. That's what I say. Do you hear me, producer Callum? Leave that in.
I thought Jay would waffle for like an extra 10
He needs to
seconds.
learn. Yes. This is how we roll. Who are you looking at first? If you can put your Pepsi Max Jelly down for 5 seconds.
I'm having an off day.
We'll do all right.
So first player to look at, I reckon Fred, man. I think it's definitely worth highlighting.
Fred.
He had a good game, in my opinion. The thing is, when Fred has these games where he's like really getting around, he's giving you that, in a way, like that Kante role of just getting in your face, like just pure energy up and down the pitch, covering every blade of grass possible for him. And when he has those performances and then retains the ball to a decent level, he always stands out for me. And as much as he does piss me off, and when he has absolute howlers and stinkers, they really stand out.
His bottom level is awful. It's like through the
because you can't have bad games in that area of the pitch, really. And
that's the
you've
problem.
got to be quite consistent. And it was disappointing the start of the season because I thought he's always a player that might give you like the 7 out of 10s-ish last season. Like I know he had the odd bad one.
No, he can. He has
quite
praised him
reliant
at times. Yeah.
He was quite reliant for like what Ollie's trying to do last season and even the season before. We've seen him in some of the big games. So it was nice seeing that yesterday. And he's had some decent games in recent time, I would say. But yeah, like in terms of the long term, of course, Manchester United can upgrade on him. But he's a player that even as the squad moves on and develops and whatever happens with the manager and stuff, I can always see him have some sort of role in this team. And he was good yesterday. He was even getting involved going forward. He had that shot on his right foot, maybe could have laid off Ronaldo, but showed that confidence, got into the box for that Ronaldo cross. So he really had something about him, you know. He really got involved up and down the pitch, and he didn't really hide in that game. I thought Scott McTominay, his partner in midfield, someone that I actually like, didn't have that much of an influence. Maybe it was one of them where your DM looks like he's having a bit of a quiet game because he's got a lot to watch out for, a lot to deal with, and he's got a certain role. Maybe it was one of them, and from a tactical point of view, I'd have to look deeper into that, but he just didn't really show for the ball much. There was one where it comes out on the edge of the box. I sat next to Adam, we both picked out on it, and like he just puts his foot out the way, and Atalanta go on the counter. So yeah, Scott would have liked him to have a better game, but Fred really stepped up on a big occasion for United. They had to win that game and turn the game around. They did, and he got involved at both ends of the pitch, and hopefully it continues.
The sort of $64,000 question, I think, for everyone is, can Paul Pogba play alongside one of these? Do you think that's an option? Because we need to find a way, I think anyway, you may disagree, and if you do disagree, get involved in the comments, and while you're at it, hit subscribe. We'll get over 700,000 subscribers by the end of the season, and we're on course to do that. We need to play, for me, a way that accommodates Pogba and Bruno and Marcus Rashford, and the only way I see that happening is if Pogba's more of a midfielder, a deep midfielder.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Can he play alongside Fred?
I can't see that. And do you know what? I'm starting to come around to the idea as well of like, stop lying to myself about the fact that Paul Pogba can fit into this team.
Do you not think he can?
I don't think he can really fit into this team at DM because, listen, Pogba's one of my favourite United players, probably. And I've honestly defended him time and time again in the past. But I think if we look at him, I think even if you look at outside the footballing side of things, he's a player that him and his team haven't committed. I said this on my fan cam last night. They're not committed. They've not come to the table and said, we're going to try our best to make this deal happen. It's a lot of, let me assess my personal situation. And I get that, you know, it's his career at the end of the day. And he's had some rough years at United, and he stayed at United in those rough years, but he's on a big contract. So the thing is with him, going back to the football side of stuff, Manchester United play in a style where the two defensive midfielders turn the ball over. We've seen like Fred did yesterday, and we would see that as well when McTominay has them high games. We've seen against the likes of City, PSG, Chelsea, and so on and so forth. So he can't really play in that role. What I see, the best you can get out of Pogba, if this is what Ollie's style is right now, this is what works. For me, on the left, it's not a question. Marcus Rashford starts on the left. And it's not even a question about ability or who's the better player that plays on the left. For me, you need to build Marcus Rashford's profile on the left wing. He is Manchester United's future future forward. And we're talking about a man who's 23, starting to come into his best years. We've seen the runs he made yesterday. We've not really got him into the players highlighted, and that's why I'm going a bit in depth with Rashford today. But I know he missed some chances yesterday. But that's the type of modern player that you need. You know, you've seen the likes of Mohamed Salah, how much he improved over the years in terms of his finishing, but the movement's always there. The understanding of space, the attacking the space. And he gave something different to Manchester United. And it goes to the point with Paul Pogba is, does Paul Pogba offer you that in terms of that last man and the last line? He doesn't. Maybe in that Leeds game where it was an open game and he can find those unbelievable passes that no one else can. It looks great. But if we're talking about building your player on it as the ultimate left winger, as the ultimate man, the next forward that's going to lead this club in the future, it's Marcus Rashford. And I don't want to see his minutes hindered because we're playing Paul Pogba wide. The way you can use Paul Pogba now is use him as an impact player like we seen yesterday. And I thought he did well when he come on yesterday. Some good long balls across. There was one before one of our goals actually out to Luke Shaw. Really good. There was a dribble in the middle and then finding that pass out to Shaw. I mean, he's the best at doing that in world football for me. You know, when he can bypass 2-3 players and look for that switch, no one comes close to him, Paul Pogba. And I think that's, if Ollie's going to play, I think if Ollie's going to succeed at Manchester United and actually turn this really, really bad run of form around with the players that we got, he's got to go to, and it goes to back to the point of Fred, he's got to turn to what works for him as a manager. And what's worked for him as a manager is having he's having two of those defensive midfielders that constantly win the ball back. Manchester United, yes, can upgrade on those players. But as a style, that's Ollie's style. I know people always say, oh, it doesn't have a style, it doesn't have style. But what I've seen is when Manchester United have been successful under Ollie in those runs of form, remember in 2019 against the Spurs and the Cities, and we had a pretty difficult run of form. We managed to not just get by it, we managed to, beat these teams in incredible style. City away in the Etihad, I think it was 2-0, 2-1, where Tony Marshall, Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, it's 2-1.
Like, we're looking at those games, we were the better side in those games.
100%,
At Spurs at home
100%.
as well. And the reason the attacking line was so up for it and did so well was because the double pivot allowed them to do that. And with Paul Pogba, unfortunately, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is limited tactically and he's not very adaptable to certain situations. Like, I think there's times where he can play diamond and bring Donny in, get Pogba in, dominate games more like that, but that isn't the style. And if that's not your style, then it's not working for Paul Pogba. There's no reason to force it because our midfield just ends up getting played through way too easily with him in that pivot. And we've seen that in the Leicester game, man. As much as I love him, it's not going to work out. And you've got to utilise him best way possible, and that's using him as an impact player, in my opinion, for the current moment.
Get involved in the comments. Let us know whether you agree with Abdul or you disagree. Do you think Paul Pogba is an impact player? Do you think he can play deeper? Or do you think he's someone who could be used on the left-hand side? Or, like Abdul said, is that Marcus Rashford's domain? I'm with you on that one. I think no matter what, Marcus Rashford starts.
It's the long-term thing, man.
Yeah.
It's not even like me favouring him like Marcus. I do love Marcus Rashford. I think he's quality. But at the same time, I rate Paul Pogba highly. And I think on his day, he's just absolutely mesmerising. I love watching him. But it's just not really worked out, has it?
No, it hasn't. One player it has worked out for is Bruno Fernandes. I mean, his numbers are ridiculous. And even against Atalanta, where for the first 40 minutes especially, he wasn't having a good game at all. It's probably one of his worst performances I've seen from him. But he ends up having what can only be described as one of the most productive games of anyone in recent memory in terms of chances created.
You're right. And you look at the numbers, like 9 chances created in one game. That says a lot about Bruno's style, the high risk, high reward style. And I've spoken about this before. Like, if you want to have that player, you've got to have people who are grounded behind him. And that's why, again, we lead at the point of Pogba. You can't play Paul Pogba and Bruno on the same team. Because if that style of the high risk, high reward thing, you need guys who are behind him, who are composed, who are ready as well. And that's why you need to upgrade your DMs, because you need composure there and you need a younger Matic type of thing. You need players who are going to be ready to, straight away, Bruno could lose the ball here, get onto it. But when it comes off, like, come off for that Marcus Rashford pass. Oh, my God. Like, He looks. I rewatched that this morning, and
Rightly so.
mate, I was rewatching those highlights. I know tomorrow, man. Last night, this morning.
I just fast forwarded to the second half and just watched
the first 2 goals didn't happen. I rewatched Demiral because he's Turkish, and, you know,
Fair enough.
propaganda and all that.
All right, okay, yeah. Hang on a minute. He's Turkish. You're not even Turkish, are you?
I don't, but I've been to like Turkey for 10 times.
Oh,
So nothing to me
right,
there,
okay.
so gotta put some money into the economy.
Fair enough. A bit of solidarity for the Turkish viewers.
But
there.
yeah, to be fair, he put on a great tackle on Marcus as well. And we're looking at with Bruno, that part when I was watching it, he actually looks at Marcus and he sees him run.
Yeah.
And then as the ball comes in, he makes that pass
Do
instantly.
you think there's
very good
a
pass.
similarity there with Bruno Marcus? It's like they take a little while to find the feet in a game. In terms of Marcus with his runs and his finishing, he has a couple of offsides. He has a couple of chances he doesn't finish. Then he gets his goal. Bruno, he has a couple of passes that aren't quite there, and then he gives you the killer pass.
That's what the best
It feels like
players
they
do.
feel the way into a game.
That's what the best players do,
Yeah.
though, and that's what our fans don't understand. They want everything, every moment to be perfect. Arguably, right now, the best player in the world is Mohamed Salah. And how many times do we see him have games where he get caught offside in a pass, or he'll miss a couple of chances? We've seen that. But when they really get going and they've really got the passes coming to him and everything, you've just got to keep taking those risks. You got to be getting into those positions. And do you know what? The more we were getting into those positions, as frustrating as it was missing those chances, I really felt a bit happier, even though we were 2 down in terms of the attacking style that we had, because we were creating different avenues. And I was chatting to someone last night over the phone. I was telling them, like, you know, when you're talking, if you bring a neutral to watch United over the season and you tell them what's the passing sequence to create a chance, like every team has a certain style of sort of creating a chance. You know, City's did the whole passing thing and around the box and really building up the play and getting in the area. And we've seen it with Walker's goal in the Champions League. Manchester United, if you watch them, sometimes you can't really figure out what works for them. Sometimes Bruno over the shoulder with Paul Pogba as well, but you don't really get a lot of goals with it. I think yesterday, if the neutral sat and watched, you'd say Marcus Rashford's finding those runs. And I really enjoyed seeing that. And Bruno was catching some of those passes, you know, not just for the goal. There was one that he created as well where Marcus missed as well. So it's nice seeing that. And I think it's so important, just Bruno having that mentality of continuing to create. I know he was poor in possession sometimes. It was frustrating. Sometimes looks so lethargic and tired. And he does play a lot of football, man. Like, sorry.
Go on. Sorry. Keep going. Keep plowing on, son.
When Ronaldo found him out onto the right side, he looked just dead. Didn't he? Like, he just didn't look ready to hit that ball. He didn't look like the alive Bruno Fernandes just going to smack that. He had to get it back down onto his left foot and hit it across, and it was a weak shot. So maybe it was a bit of tiredness kicking in, but he was really fighting. And I love that, man. I love Bruno Fernandes' passion and energy.
I love Bruno Fernandes, and it annoys me when he gets questioned or people say, "Oh, he's not all that." He is. Look at his numbers. Look at what he does. Look at, you know, just the fact that he breaks records all the time, including, you know, not sort of breaking record, but recently no one's created as many chances in the Champions League, I think, for about 17 years or something, in one game as Bruno Fernandes. And if I'm wrong, you can get involved.
I think it was for Manchester United.
For Manchester United since 2004.
The one that was going around yesterday, I think Statman Dave put that out. It was 9 chances created in a single Champions League game. That's more than any players had across the competition so far. So he's done that in a single game. No players actually got more than 9 in the competition.
Sell him. Get rid of him.
That was as of mid-game yesterday.
He's rubbish.
He's incredible, man. And you know what? He puts himself out there and sometimes you got to take those risks. It's frustrating. Me and Adam were proper kicking off at him yesterday.
Can't imagine you and Adam McCullough kicking off about anything, to be honest with you. I think you must be lying there. If I know Adam McCullough, I know that he doesn't get angry. That's one thing you can bank on. Now, you've picked a bit of a hidden gem here, haven't you? You've done the research. You've not gone for the obvious one. You've gone for someone. This is what I like about you, Abdul. You do your own work and you think, right, I'm not going to go for the box ticking. I'm going to get into the core of this game and see the things that other people may not see. So who's the third player you've gone for?
Anthony Elanga.
His movement was fantastic.
Movement on the bench.
Yeah.
He was warming up.
Do you know what I mean?
Looked really good.
No, you've gone for Ronaldo, and all joking aside.
Good old Viva Ronaldo.
Yeah, I can understand why, because he scored the winner.
Yeah.
And also, that's a pretty basic argument. He got the winner. What did you make of his performance, and why have you singled him out?
Best performance so far from him in a United shirt, in my opinion. He did miss some chances.
That's a bold
No,
statement
alright,
considering
fucking hell,
the
fucking-
goals he scored for us over the years and the
Alright,
trophies he's won.
Oh wait, United's not the same. We're talking about tap-in merchant Cristiano. I love him. I'm only joking.
Yeah,
Guys, don't worry.
since he's returned, obviously.
Number 9, Cristiano, probably best because he created 3 chances. He was involved in 10 shots basically because obviously he took 7, created 3. He was heavily involved yesterday and the build-up. Yeah, frustrating at times and stuff, and it's the same thing with Rashford and Bruno. You're going to get that from your best players. He missed that chance. That pass from Bruno into him was a bit bobbly and that, so you can sort of let him off with that. But he did miss a couple of the chances. But he's just getting involved in the play. Sometimes it was quite quick between like that left side when Fred got involved, Bruno and Marcus and Ronaldo. Like they were really creating something there, and it was nice because he was getting involved in a build-up, but it was with purpose. Like we were really getting into the area with him. He's not really been doing that so far since joining United. So I was quite happy with him. Chased that ball back, didn't he, as well? So it just showed how important it was. And just having someone like Cristiano Ronaldo lead by example to the rest of the team, as in, we're here, we're going to fight for the manager, we're going to fight for our place in this competition. It's really good just having that, knowing who he is as a player and what he's done in his career at United, at Madrid, at Juventus or whatever. And you're just looking at him as the leader on the pitch. So he's led by example, chased the winger back for that. So that was a nice moment. But overall, his general play, his link-up play was a lot better. There was a couple... he created that chance for Bruno on the right that I mentioned earlier. Yeah. There was a flick onto Marcus as well. The one way he actually gets into the area, waits for the defender to go down. If he catches him, probably gets a penalty, but he doesn't, bypasses him. Good ball into the back post, into Fred. So we're seeing him, show that creative side of the game. And the more and more... And I think what we're seeing now is... The issue is with our other forwards, because you need that quick, you need that lively action. I think with Marcus Rashford and Ronaldo now, you're seeing them occupying defenders, and it's given both players the chance to have more space to deal with and create opportunities for themselves. So, yeah, overall happy with him yesterday, and hopefully it continues.
No, couldn't disagree with any of that. Or it's good to see our attacking players and our gifted players doing the things that only they can do. Yeah. So Bruno creating those kind of chances that mere mortals can't. Ronaldo getting you those goals that Cristiano Ronaldo is probably the only player on a United team that can score that header.
Yeah.
To be honest, and I love Marcus Rashford and I love Mason Greenwood, but let's not kid ourselves. That's not the type of
one
goals.
of the only few players that can actually do that. Leap that high and put that in to the bottom corner. It was a great finish.
It's just a perfect header, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he always comes up clutch in those moments. He doesn't ever die in the game. He always knows that there's a moment to score, and he consistently does it wherever we've seen him go, Cristiano Ronaldo. And that is... The thing is with like football, when you look at it overall, like even when they have like the greatest player of all time debate, obviously Ronaldo had his time when he was younger where he was taking players on, he was enjoyable. I was rewatching, because I never got to watch it when I was younger, but I've rewatched a couple of clips for it. I think it was Millwall was at the FA Cup final.
Oh yeah.
Like he was just rinsing players and everything.
That was the first Ronaldo ever.
Yeah.
That was the Ronaldo that loved his step overs, ran at everyone. Sometimes it didn't come off. Yeah. Trust me, if Twitter had been a thing, then you would have seen some ridiculous. Yeah, because I know like a lot of people used to say, he's a step over merchant, all that one trick pony. But when it did come off, it was fantastic. And against a team like Millwall, who just didn't have the quality to stop him, and then he evolved into this goal machine.
This is why it is though. As he evolved into that, he was still giving things as like a creator at Madrid, even Potts. There was one season at Juve, one of his seasons, where he actually stood out to me as to be one of the better creators in the team. Yeah, he was actually creating a lot of chances. I think when Mandzukic was playing up front with him and stuff. But what's important in between all of that and his development is having that, that whole clutch gene of just being able to turn up and sniff out.
Just to explain, if people don't know what you mean when you say clutch gene.
I think just knowing, obviously, always being alive and knowing there's a moment for you as a player. And I think he's a player that no one will ever touch on that level. Yeah. He is very much the best moment player ever. Like when he's like, if you're writing like a movie about a footballer, you'd write about Cristiano Ronaldo, wouldn't you? Even if we look at just this season, the Villarreal game, this game, the game for Portugal against Ireland. Like, he's just so inevitable.
He is inevitable.
Like, the most inevitable man in football.
He is, and I think that, subbing at your peril will be my message to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Not that I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to take off Cristiano Ronaldo anytime soon. Abdullah, when can people find you?
I'm Pure Ball on YouTube. I'm
Say it properly.
Here. Pure Ball.
You're a mank. Piabo.
Piabo, as
Hey,
Jay
pure
likes to
ball.
call it.
Sound like you've,
We might have to rebrand it just for Jay. Just for Jay.
Go and check him out. Loads of good stuff on his channel. It's grown quite well on it. Over
Yeah,
the
it's
last
done
few
well.
weeks.
Obviously, I was away on a break and that, so we didn't get to record much. I angrily recorded the Leicester review there,
Angry recordings.
which I'm not really the ranty type of guy.
No, you're
Sometimes
not.
I got a bit of a little.
There's nothing wrong
thing
with
in
having
me.
a little bit of that, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's what you're about, and that's why we love having you on this channel, so you can go through the analysis as you do so very well. So check out Abdullah. Make sure you're subscribing to this channel as well. We want to get to 700,000 subscribers, and check out the merch, paddockmerch.com. That's been Abdul from Piabo. I've been Jay Motti. Thanks for watching.